ZP12. I don't know why 12, but
I was
it's
like,
there.
all right. So Ed 97,
Sure. That was my AIM name back in the day.
your AIM name. I just figured that
For
was
you
probably the Windows you were still running.
for you kids that don't know, AIM used to be the Facebook of our generation for the
AIM
most
was
part.
like texting before texting.
Dude, AIM was so dope back then.
I will admit, I used it for inappropriate conquests.
No.
Hey, it was pretty successful, man. Remember, you go into chat rooms and you'd press ASL.
ASL. Again, youngsters, age, sex, location, right?
Yeah, just in case you're wondering, not like what age would you have sex with, like if you're male or female. I know that that's kind of hard
Right.
nowadays.
Hey, what's your age? What's your sex? What's your location? Right.
Right.
Um, it's weird. I always found my uncle on there. It was creepy.
But he always told me he was a 22-year-old female. It's weird.
It was before Chris Hansen became popular.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that was before the dudes would show up with rope and lie and a fucking shovel.
And that's whenever they didn't have like true porn sites, but yet you'd go and you'd like scrape a picture off of there and be like, oh yeah, that's me. This is
Dude,
my
I
donkey
remember
dangler.
having to wait like 4.5 minutes to download one cooter picture when I was in high school.
I always hated it because you'd be mid-stroke and then mom would call from the office. I'm trying to get on the internet. Get off.
No,
I'm
what I
trying
hated
to,
was
mom.
like the screen was all pixelated, and it would be like chink, 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 and then like it'd be getting clearer and clearer, and then all of a sudden like somebody would walk in, and you'd have to click off the page. And like, fuck.
I wasted all that time.
Right. Then you go back and pull up that window and it's still pixelated and you had to reload it and it starts all over again. Man, I mean,
made
I
it to
remember
nip
back in the
and
day
just
jerking
gave
off
up.
to a couple titties on like the scrambled TV stuff.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Like it would be like wavy and then all of a sudden it would pause and you'd see like a nipple and you'd be like, oh,
I saw a
oh.
dip.
And then it would do it again and then it would go back and you're like, oh, that's a dude nipple. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. That was good stuff.
Well, since we're on the subject of fucked up stuff, um, I don't know if you've heard of the magazine company called Rolling Stone.
Yes.
Maybe.
A little bit. A couple
Yeah.
times.
Well, back in late September of this year, they came out with the top 500 songs of all time. All right. I feel like both of us, we know what good music is. I think I venture out a little bit more on some music than you do. But for the most part, through the history of music, we know good music, right?
I would say so. I would say that
So I went through this.
going out to put a 500 song list together is a pretty lofty fucking goal, but
It
each his
is,
own.
and you would probably think like this is 500 songs that you know through 500, 400, 300, 200, 100, and then the top 10.
Okay.
Seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Starting at 500, they have Kanye West Stronger. Okay. Don't know your opinion on that, but it made the top 500. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, how many songs are released every year? 10,000?
And this is of all time.
Right. So, I mean, I don't want to say that that's accurate because I don't know the rest of the list, but I mean, that's a good song. So I'm with you.
Number 400 is David Bowie, Station to Station. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a David Bowie fan, and I have no idea what this song is, so I'll take their word on it.
I was about to say, when I think David Bowie, I don't think of that song. I've never heard it.
Well, and be mindful, there's a lot of artists that are on this list that have been repeated multiple times on different songs because, they're that good or whatever.
Yeah.
Number 300 is the B-52's Rock Lobster.
Why the fuck are the B-52s even on here?
They're at 300. So you're already starting to see the progression of where this list is going.
Yeah, I'm not liking this already.
Moving on to number 200 is David Bowie again, Changes. All right. Again, not another song I know of David Bowie's, but I'll take their word on it.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, okay. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but okay.
And then we're on to number 100 is Bob Dylan, Blowing in the Wind.
I mean, I don't know. So full disclosure, song titles are not like my forte, but
Right.
I know Bob Dylan and respect the talent. So I'll let it slide, I guess.
And so now we're into the top 50, but I'm going to go all the way down to the top 10. Just mindful, just because I scrolled by it. This is how bad this list is to me. Number 30. You know Lord? Have you heard Lord?
Yeah.
The chick, she had a hit in 2011 called Royals.
Yeah, the one song.
That's number 30 of
Okay,
all
so this
time.
is like recent bias.
So where are we at? 17, 15. All right, number 10, Outcast. Hey Ya. Of all time, number 10.
I mean,
It's a good song, but
it's
is
okay.
it a
So
top
there's
10
a
of all
difference. I guess
time?
like my thing is there's a good song and then there's like catchy song, right? And
Right.
this is more the catchy song. So is
To
this
me, that's more of a song that you're going to expect to hear at a wedding,
well to me
like a
that
reception.
doesn't even like the I would have to understand the criteria of this list because
Well,
it's definitely not lyrics, right?
no.
It's not necessarily musicianship. So are
It's
they
not
just
record
basing it on
sales.
popularity?
Well, number 9 is Fleetwood Mac Dreams.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, I've never heard that song. I may have, but
Right. So like I know Fleetwood Mac. I am not a Fleetwood Mac fan at all. I'm a
right.
Stevie Nicks fan, that's for
Yep.
sure. But I don't like any of her music. I just like her sound.
And Stevie Nicks
So
did write that song.
okay, well,
So, number 8, Missy Elliott, Get Your Freak On.
okay, I hate this list.
Number 7, The Beatles, Strawberry Fields Forever.
That's not even their best song.
That's I'm just like, what the hell? Like, the Beatles are a great band. I do believe one of their songs should be within the top 10, but probably not that one, right? Moving on. Number 6, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On.
Okay.
Number
That's a
5,
very
I know
pivotal song for that time.
you're not going to like this one. Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
So
Number 5 of all time.
yeah, but so every list that you've ever seen of music from the 90s,
Mhm.
that is repeatedly the number one song, like consensus wide for the 90s. And if you think about it, that whole album when it came out was like game changing. Like that started the grunge movement, right? We wouldn't have Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and all the like Red Hot Chili Peppers. We wouldn't have that genre of music be as popular if Nirvana didn't like kickstart that whole movement.
I don't know. I feel like there's a part of Metallica in the late 90s that helped form what grunge rock is.
Well, so
And
Metallica in the late 90s pissed off all their fan base by going commercial.
this is
So
true.
a lot of people walked away from the band and then they didn't even come back until they started coming out with like the garage sessions or whatever that thing was called. So
Yeah.
you got to kind of watch out for that too. I agree with you that they took some of the grunge sound, but then they took the commercial rock of 3 verses, a guitar solo, and that's a song. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now, full disclosure, I fully enjoy the Black Album by Metallica, but
Who doesn't?
I mean, but I'm also one of those people that I like Van Halen with Sammy Hagar and Van Halen with David Lee Roth, and apparently that's like a faux pas.
You can't do that.
Yeah, I get yelled at all the time by music people.
Number 4, we got Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah, okay.
Number 3, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come.
Sam Cooke is so good.
Number 2, Public Enemy, Fight the Power.
Yeah, that was a big game changer.
And number 1 of all time, Aretha Franklin, Respect.
Okay, now I see what's happening. Rolling Stone they're completely immersed in the music industry, obviously, right? But
Right?
now, remember when the Queen movie came out, Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yep.
Do you know what the number one song of all time on the Rolling Stone list back then was?
What's that?
Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Yeah.
And now, to be fair, that song has great lyrics written by one person, and the instrumental part of it is amazing. So it is a contender to me to be the greatest song of all time.
Oh, that
Is it the
comes in at
greatest
number
song of all?
17.
It's what?
That comes in at number 17.
Right. But so now what I'm saying is that Rolling Stone has an agenda, because when that movie came out, they made Bohemian Rhapsody number one, and then a lot of people that are younger than us that hadn't really heard Queen went out and started buying Queen. Well, they started downloading Queen songs, and then they popped back into the top 10 again. So I'm thinking this is based on popularity, because I don't know if you know, but there is a movie coming out based on Aretha Franklin. And it should come out like in a month, maybe, or maybe it's coming out like this next weekend. I don't know, but it's called Respect. So, but it's Jennifer Hudson, which holy shit, she can sing. But I'm trying to Respect. I couldn't spell it. The movie comes out. Oh, it's already been released. So this is aftermath of that movie. That movie was released in mid-August, and so now it's number one on this, whatever. Do you think it's the greatest rock song, greatest song of all time?
No.
No, not even
I
close.
don't. I think that the popularity of it and what she's done for music speaks volumes, but I don't think that awards that one song the greatest of all time.
No.
Now, if you were to ask me right now, greatest song of all time, I couldn't give you one, just because I have so many that run through my head, and each one's a different genre of music, and like I can't pinpoint one, but Aretha Franklin's is not number one to me.
Well, so let's do this just real quick because it's our show. Fuck it. What's your greatest rock song of all time?
Shit.
Mine's Stairway to Heaven. So
see, I'm a huge fan of Metallica's Fade to Black.
Okay. I mean, you're not, what I'm saying is like the best part of this exercise, you're not wrong.
You can't be wrong.
No.
Right.
Now, I mean, we're probably going to get some shit because that's just what happens, but
y'all don't know music.
Right, yeah. You don't know what you're talking about. All right. So what is the greatest country song of all time?
Oh shit. To me is George Strait, The Chair.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
So mine is a Garth Brooks song. No, it's not.
That Summer.
Oh. Man, I've never heard pedophilia pitched so hard in my life. No, it's a Brooks and Dunn song. I think the title of it is The Words Written in Red.
Okay.
Dude, that song hits you in places. It's either that or like Vince Gill. To me, Vince Gill has the best country voice of all time. That's just mine.
You're confusing so many people right now.
I know. I'm looking up Vince Gill's song list because I don't know the name of the song. Oh, Go Rest High on That Mountain.
Yeah.
That's probably the greatest country song of all time. All right. So what about like rap?
Cool. There's way too many of them.
Well, so okay, I consider rap like Dre, Eminem, Kanye, Lil Wayne, like that type stuff, and then R&B would be like R. Kelly, Usher, like Genuine, stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe we go with like most important song to you.
Ain't nothing but a G thing.
It's not bad. Well, so the first song that got me into rap was Lil Troy, "Wanna Be a Baller."
Right.
Right, that's the first song that got me, and I was like, man, this is some good stuff, right? So then you got into like Lil Flip and Bun B and stuff like that.
A lot of H-Town rappers.
Yeah, but like the only rap album that I ever like the first one I ever remember buying was Chronic 2001.
Yes.
Right? And
That was a great album.
It like almost every song I still know them all, right? And the Forgot About Dre with Eminem, like that was the hardest song back then.
Yep.
And like it's still good today. So like to me, that was the most important rap song to me.
What about pop song, if you have one?
What do you consider pop?
Like mine is Billie Jean by Michael Jackson.
Okay. Is that, I mean, I guess it's pop.
King of pop?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I'm not asking like 98 Degrees or anything like that.
Well, right. That's why I didn't know where you were going with that. Because I was thinking like, because I don't want to insult anybody. Because some people take insult to being called pop.
Right.
But like to me, Matchbox 20 was pop music to me.
Okay.
Right? I mean, they're technically rock.
Like an alternative rock.
Yeah. I mean, it's either Usher, You Make Me Wanna.
Ooh.
Right.
Well, that's also kind of like R&B.
Right. So that's why I'm like, when we were kids, that was pop music because it was popular.
Right.
Right. That was what was going on. But then I also like Back to Good by Matchbox 20. So one of those. I mean, I know that that's kind of skirting the issue because it's not like Madonna or anything, but whatever.
But R&B wise, nothing beats Keith Sweat.
You got me twisted.
Yes.
Hell yeah. I still jam that song.
Penny Dropper of 97.
Dude. Man, like I'm getting hard thinking about it. Like that song is some baby making music. Jeez. I feel like your sperm count goes up when that song starts playing.
Either that one or Genuine Pony. Like
Pony makes you feel like you're a stripper and you're gonna lay down some dick. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Like I listened to that one thinking I'm giving an extra 5 minutes of stroking going on.
I'm thinking, look, you know what? If I arch my back, I'm gonna give her an extra quarter an inch and I'm gonna do it. Thanks, Genuine. Appreciate you, dude.
Man, enough of the music. Let's move on to what we know. You ready?
I say we clearly don't know what we're talking about.
No, we don't.
No.
Two white boys over here.
Yeah. Anyway, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
Woo!
Hit it. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I am Ed.
I'm Zach.
And here we are again, assholes, for another day of sports talk.
Yeah.
We just finished up Monday Night Football last night with the Chargers pretty much owning the Raiders. And what I thought was a fun game to watch until the fourth quarter, whenever you could tell the Chargers were running away with it.
Yeah, I mean, Chargers were up 21-0, 3 first half touchdown passes for Justin Herbert, and that was it. That's all they needed.
Vegas gave everybody the hope that they were coming back in the third quarter when they had 14 unanswered points, but it wasn't enough. They couldn't get anything done in the fourth. Chargers went ahead and sealed the deal with one more touchdown, giving them the win, of course, 28-14. Did you have any major takeaways from this game?
Yeah, it kind of looks like when we talked about the Raiders being a real team, maybe they're not. Maybe their couple wins were lucky. I mean, really the only win they had that was of note now is against the Ravens, right? But that was week 1, kind of rusty. Everybody's out of the gate, a little different, not knowing exactly what to expect. And the Raiders basically had the entire offseason to prep for that game, right? So then they beat the Steelers, which, okay, they beat the Steelers. It turns out the Steelers aren't anybody. And
All right.
then now they beat Miami without their quarterback. So, I mean, and they were down 14-0 in that game at one point. And then now they got manhandled by the Chargers. So maybe there's a little more fool's gold in Las Vegas than we thought.
Yeah, there might be. One of the things that you've mentioned is post game. There was an interview. Who'd you say with Joey Bosa
Joey Bosa,
that
yeah, he
said
kind of
that
threw his cock out there a little bit.
as soon as you get in Derek Carr's face, he crumbles. And we saw a lot of that last night. And I saw one particular play um, just before the first half ended. The line collapsed, and one of the defensive linemen came straight at Derek Carr, and he probably could have made a three-step drop to get out of the pocket and make a play on it, but he instantly turned his back and cuddled the ball close to his chest and just absorbed the hit and went down. That's not what you're supposed to do as a quarterback, right? You're supposed to be a playmaker. You're supposed to be stepping to the side, trying to break that. Now, it's easier for me to say that as I'm looking from my bird's eye view to where it was up into his face. But to me, I felt like he had plenty of time to go ahead and dodge that, get out the way. The entire line was to his right, so he could have possibly moved over to the left and made something happen. But I don't know, man. What Joey Bosa said is showing some truth to it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see that particular play that you're speaking of, but I mean, there have been instances where, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, guys like that will, you know what? I'm going to take the sack. I'm going to hold the ball tight. I'm going to go down. I'll come back. I'll beat you the next play. Like, you got me this play, but I'll beat you the next one. And that might be some maturity that we're seeing from Derek Carr to do that. But for the most part, what Joey Bosa said is accurate. When they were able to get a rush on Derek Carr, he was awful. I don't have the stats on it
Yeah.
exactly, but he did not have a good game. He's been averaging 400 passing yards a game, and I kind of looked like he didn't even show up in the first half.
Yeah, he was under 200 passing yards for the game. He was sacked 4 times, threw 1 interception. It wasn't his best outing, but you know what? Players fuck up too, right? So
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
he was on an off day. I'm not
everybody
ready to
has a
count the
bad
Raiders
day.
out yet. Right.
And it could have been he just had a shitty
Um,
game, and maybe that's what happens, and maybe this is their shitty game, and then they go forward from here and they learn, they move on, they start winning. But man, I don't know.
you've got to give it to the Chargers. They came out there, and first off, what we mentioned yesterday is the number one thing that we wanted to see is the run game from the Chargers. And
We
what did they
saw it.
do? Austin Eckler rushed for 117 yards, 15 carries, and a touchdown.
Yep, and
Not
he had a
only did they
receiving
do
touchdown
that, but
too to cap it.
Justin Herbert did an outstanding job of spreading this ball around. You look at it, we mentioned it, I said it on Facebook last night. You can't sleep on Jared Cook. Jared Cook led the receiving corps with 70 yards for 6 receptions and a touchdown. He is somebody we always forget, but he's that travelman tight end that always does the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, no matter what
They had a
offense he's
total.
in, he seems to just get the job done. You need 12 yards, just throw it up. He'll jump and catch it over somebody. I mean, he's not a Hall of Fame tight end by any means, but
No,
he is definitely somebody you can rely on, and he is a quarterback's best friend. That's for sure.
the Chargers rushed for a total of 168 yards and received for 222 yards. So, in my opinion, I think they spread out the ball pretty evenly. Uh, there, they kept confusing the Raiders' defense. They didn't know what was coming. Hats off to the Chargers, who came more prepared than what the Raiders did.
Oh yeah, it kind of showed a little bit that the Chargers were way more ready for what the Raiders were going to throw at them. The Raiders in the first half looked completely lost, especially on
Yep.
offense. On defense, they were constantly chasing. The Chargers were able to exploit matchups. They moved up and down the field with almost no problem. There were a couple of possessions back to back where both teams were blitzing the quarterbacks because it was 7-0. The Chargers went right down the field on the first drive, scored a touchdown, 7-0. Then the Raiders punted the ball. Then the Chargers punted the ball. And then the Raiders punted the ball. And the two defenses were just having at it. And then it was like the Chargers just made an adjustment, scored 14 points in the second quarter, and that was it. I mean, once that happened, I don't know if the Raiders were defeated or maybe Derek Carr was defeated. I don't know, but it looked like they kind of just gave up. They went into halftime. They tried to regroup. They came out and scored 14 unanswered points, and then the defense clamped down again. That was it. That's all they had.
Yep.
So
the Chargers did a really good job on first down conversions, just first downs all around. They own the Raiders. They had a total of 24 first downs compared to the 10 first downs that the Raiders had. Pretty much on third down efficiency, they were the same. Fourth down, Chargers came out they got 2 out of their 3 attempts. So again, I think the Chargers came in more prepared. I don't want to count the Raiders out this season yet. I still think they're going to be a contender for that division. I'm possibly even looking at them for a wild card spot. But you know what? We keep saying it. We still got a lot of football left. We're only on week 4. We're going into week 5. And that just means new week, new enemy, or new challenges for each team, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're only not even a quarter of the way into the season now with 17 games. So It's a little too early to write someone off. But I would say that based on what the Chargers did last night, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They're going to see the Chargers
are in
again.
trouble?
Huh?
You said the Chargers are in trouble?
No. I'm saying based on what the Chargers were able to do, the Raiders are in trouble.
Gotcha.
The Raiders are going to see this team again. This is a division team, and they need to right the ship. And I mean, I don't want to point fingers at Derek Carr, but that's kind of how it works in the NFL. He was getting all the praise when they were 3-0. He's going to get all the grit when all the negativity when he's 0-1 in the last game.
Yep. Let's move on to week 5. I don't know if you've looked at the schedule or not. Thursday night we kick off with the Rams versus the Seahawks in Seattle.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going to have some slumpage from the Rams after losing to Arizona, or are they going to come back more of a revenge team?
Well, so I mean, it's always tough losing division games, and you got back-to-back division games. So it's going to be a tough turnaround, especially going to Seattle to play, a short week in Seattle where it's going to be loud.
Yep.
And Russell Wilson is finally starting to heat up, played pretty good this Sunday. It seems like for whatever reason, the Rams struggle with mobile quarterbacks. We saw Kyler Murray basically light them up for 3 quarters.
Yep.
So Russell Wilson, I don't know if you guys know this, but Russell Wilson can move a little bit, and he has a pretty strong arm.
I think a lot of people are forgetting about Russell Wilson this year.
Yeah, he is the polished version of Kyler Murray. So It could be a repeat from this past season or this past week. The problem is Seattle's defense is bad. It's weird to say that. It feels odd coming off my tongue, but they're bad. And we did see a little bit more of a run game from Seattle this week. So they were able to control the clock and kind of run the clock out a little bit more. But I don't know if that is fixed or that's just who their opponent was. So I'm not sold yet. I need to see more. But I don't know. It's going to be a tough week for the Rams. But
currently they got the books at.
What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
I feel like they should be able to right the ship. I feel like it was one bad game by Matthew Stafford. The offense is too good to keep down, and Seattle is not a very good defense. So,
yeah, I'm seeing the Rams come out on this one. I think that they're probably going to dominate against the Seattle. I see the Rams getting a high score. I probably see them in the 40s with Seattle maybe touching 17.
Okay, so
Uh,
it's going to be a complete beatdown for you.
I seriously think it's going to be.
Okay, I mean that's not outside the realm of possibilities. I mean, preseason we picked the Rams to basically be the best team in the NFC, so
Right.
that's not a fluke. And Seattle is not, to me, on paper, Seattle is not as good as the Rams are. So I don't think that that's too far fetched to say. I have a hard time betting against Russell Wilson. He does things on the football field that almost no one else can do.
Last year against the Rams in their first meeting, Russell Wilson went 22 for 37, 248 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, sacked 6 times, and rushed for 60 yards.
Yeah, that was like his worst game all season.
Yeah. And they lost that game too.
Well, yeah, clearly. I mean, when you throw
So,
2 picks and no touchdowns, that's kind of the norm
and
there.
and that was Jared Goff, and they won 23-16. The Rams did. So
23 to
with
16. That's a close game, and Russell Wilson threw 2 picks.
right.
But
So
Matthew
now
Stafford is an upgrade over Jared Goff.
right.
Um, uh, Currently, right now, Vegas has Seattle as a 2-point dog at home.
Which I'm surprised. I was expecting a little bit bigger numbers, probably around 7.5.
I wouldn't think that. I was
But
thinking 4.5 only because it's a division game. I mean that's where I have it now. My spreadsheet has Seattle winning the game.
yeah,
And I don't know if that's just because they're at home. I haven't really dug into the numbers yet, but I don't know. The Las Vegas has Seattle plus 2 points, and the over under right now is at 54.5.
I'm going over on that one.
I'm. It depends. To me, it depends on the weather. But Thursday night games are typically low scoring games, also, and then it's a
True.
division game on top of that. So, if I would have said last night, take the Chargers and parlay it with the under, which is what my gut said to do, then I would have been right. It was another division game. Typically, division games hit the under, and that's just
Yep.
because the defenses, they have seen what these teams are going to do. They kind of are familiar with each other. They know what to expect, what tendencies, what players to look for, what matchups to look for. So I feel like this will be another under game. And man, I'm going to take the points and take the Seahawks.
Okay.
I'm not comfortable
Um,
with it, but that's where I'm sitting right now.
I want to move on to your Broncos versus the Steelers. And the only reason why I bring this game up is one, I know you have something to say about your Broncos, but two, they've
Yeah.
got the money line with Pittsburgh favored. Granted, it's only 1 point, but they have Pittsburgh favored.
Well, Pittsburgh should be favored. They're at home. It's a noon start, and it's Denver's not necessarily West Coast, but you're traveling through 2 time zones to get there. So, I don't know if you know the rule, but the trend is if you're a West Coast team, back then it was San Diego, Oakland, San Francisco, Seattle, and you travel to like Miami, and you're going to play a noon kickoff. Always take the home team, and the points, because for whatever reason that body clock gets messed up, and teams like Seattle or San Francisco or whatever, they would have a hard time getting started in the first half. So they could find themselves down 10 or 17 to nothing going into halftime before they even actually like wake up and get their body ready to go. But I mean, Pittsburgh's the home team. They should be favored, but it's only 1 point. So typically, if it's two teams and they're playing at home and it's 3 points for the home team, if they played at a neutral site, it would be 0, right? So in this instance, if they played in Dallas instead of playing in Pittsburgh or Denver, then Denver would be a 2-point favorite just based on like normal math. It depends on what happens this week. Teddy Bridgewater got knocked out of the last game at halftime. He had a concussion. He got hit under the chin with a helmet by Owe for the Ravens. It should have been flagged. It should have been a 15-yard penalty because you can't breathe on a quarterback's helmet without getting a penalty. I've seen one guy come by with a waving hand and hit him with a pinky, and the guy actually broke his pinky on the quarterback's helmet, but he got called for a penalty, and like the quarterback didn't even fall down. Like he didn't even know he got touched. So letting a play go like that's kind of bullshit, but I digress. You know, I'm a believer of let the guys play. Drew Locke came in and he looked rusty. He looked like a guy who hasn't been getting reps at practice because he's not the number one quarterback. So he's not getting the reps in practice. I mean, of course, when they went into a 2-minute, he looked good. Then he tried to force the ball into the end zone there at the end. He was just trying to make something happen. Yeah, it got picked off, but, you know, that's what people are going to look at. Oh, it was an interception. He sucks, whatever. Well, in that instance, he's just trying to score however he can. It doesn't matter.
Plus, that's lack of experience, too, with this offense this season, right?
Well, I mean, I don't even
like
think
you said, he hasn't
practiced
practiced with them.
You're against the clock. I think he had like 15 seconds left on the clock, and it was 4th down. He's just trying to score a touchdown. He doesn't care. Like, the game was already decided. There was no way they were coming back. They were down 16 points at that point. They weren't coming back. The point that I want to take from this game for the Broncos is Vic Fangio is a pussy. I can't stand, like, I didn't like him to begin with. And I told you preseason, the reason why he picked Teddy Bridgewater is because he's a pussy. Because he doesn't want his quarterback to take chances, and he doesn't want his quarterback to be the reason why he wins games. He wants his defense to get takeaways and score points and not allow the other team to score. And then he wants his quarterback to make smart decisions and not fuck up the game because he's a pussy. And I was out on a limb saying that. Everybody else in the media world was saying Teddy Bridgewater is the correct pick. This team is really good. You don't need a playmaker at quarterback. You just need a game manager, which I halfway agree with, but it still tells me that Vic Fangio is a pussy. But it wasn't confirmed until this game. So after the game, one of the like snot-nosed reporters was like, what did you think about the Ravens when the game was already in hand? Lamar Jackson rushed for the football so that they could get 3 yards to continue their streak of 100-yard rushing games. So his answer wasn't, fuck it, it's football. You know, if we don't want him to run the ball, we need to stop him, blah, blah, blah. That's what Bill Belichick would have said. Bill Belichick would have said, hey, they did what they wanted to. They line up. We're supposed to stop them. We didn't stop them. That's it. Yep. And then it'd be like, oh, do you want to elaborate on that? And he's like, no, we're on to next week. We're on to next week. We're on to next week. And that's it. He wouldn't even talk about it. Vic Fangio instead took the bitch route and was like, oh, yeah, I thought that was bullshit. The game was already in hand. It's the most egregious thing I've ever seen in my 37 years of coaching, but it doesn't surprise me because that's how the Ravens do shit. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've got the quote here. And like you said, I thought it was kind of bullshit. I expected it from them. 37 years of pro ball, I've never seen anything like it, but it was to be expected, and we expected it. If you expected it, how did you let it happen then? Right? Like, you're eating your own dick right there, sir.
Yeah. So then the best part is that after that, they asked Jim Harbaugh. Is it Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh?
Harbaugh.
Whatever. They asked Harbaugh. They're like, hey, what'd you think about Vic Fangio basically saying that was Bush League? And he goes, well, I mean, they were in the red zone. They were throwing into the end zone with 15 seconds left, and they were down by 16. I don't think that you can get 16-point touchdowns, can you? And so, like, that was the best response, because yeah, you're gonna bitch about him trying to get an arbitrary record that means something to their team, but you're trying to score a touchdown when the game's already in hand. They had to score a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, get an onside kick, which happens like 7% of the time, and then score another touchdown and another 2-point conversion. You're not winning that game.
No.
Right? Like, just take a knee and eat it. Like, I understand you want to try to battle until the clock is at 0. Like, I get that. But if that's the way you want to play it, you want to say on your side, we're battling to the end, well, then don't bitch when the other team battles to the fucking end. You know, he was saying something about player safety. They're not concerned about player safety. He was like, well, what if Von Miller would have been hurt or whatever? He ran Lamar Jackson. right? It's not like he had some scrub come in off the bench and be like, hey, you got to get 4 yards on this carry. He ran Lamar Jackson. That's his whole franchise right there. So this whole thing of it's bullshit and it's Bush League, you know what? Line up and stop them. That's all you got to
do. You can't go up in front of the press and say we expected it, but yet allowed it to happen.
Right. And then you expected it, but you've never seen it in 37 years of your pro football experience.
Right.
How's that possible?
I don't know.
That's stupid. So,
well, before we dive on into any more of Week 5, we have a lot of 3-1 teams.
Yeah, there's a lot. Only one undefeated team. That's Arizona.
We have the Bills, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Cowboys, Packers, Buccaneers, and Rams, all sitting at 3-1. Of those teams I listed, do you think any two or one of those teams are going to be in the Super Bowl?
I don't want to say no because you named like 18 teams in the NFL.
Right.
But I mean, realistically, right, the Bills were just in the AFC Championship game, so it's not that far a stretch to say that they could be in the Super Bowl. I would say Cincinnati won't be there. Baltimore could be there if they, get off the schneid in playoffs. Chargers? And I almost don't want to say it because I don't want to make Brownie fans mad and give them the kiss of death, but maybe. Like, they have more of a possibility than the Bengals, I think. Is it the Bengals or the Bengals?
Bengals.
Or both acceptables?
Both are acceptable depending on where you're from.
Okay. So then the Chargers, I think, are good enough. The Raiders, I think, are like one piece away. The Broncos they're good enough on paper, but their quarterback play still has not been good enough to warrant that. Either quarterback, either one, doesn't matter. The Cowboys, yes, I could see that. Their defense looks way improved.
Their defense has become what we've all talked about that they need, what they want.
That cornerback Diggs has 5 interceptions in 4 games.
He's doing wonderful things.
He's phenomenal. Have you watched him play and break on routes? God,
yes.
It's unbelievable. Like, he is so good. And
this is a scary time for all of us because we're all excited as sports fans to see the Cowboys finally doing this. But we also fear this because if the Cowboys keep continuing what they're doing, all the Cowboy fans are going to keep talking shit. And that is what's the biggest takeaway for me is that I can't enjoy this sports moment of seeing a quarterback like Dak Prescott deserve this type of victory because of the arrogance and ignorance of their fans.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I don't know if there's another fan base that's as annoying other than like Red Sox fans are pretty bad. Dodger fans are fucking terrible.
Yankee fans.
Yeah, I mean, like, Yankee fans are Yankee fans, right? Like, they're just obnoxious New York people. Like, I just kind of feel like that's their MO and they just embrace it. But Red Sox fans, I guess because they were shitty for so long and they never won, they were always like the lovable loser type thing, And then they won a couple championships, and then they, like, the whole New England area got Tom Brady, and it's like now they feel like if they're not in the Super Bowl, then like something's wrong, like it's rigged or some shit, and it's like, no, you're just reverting back to normal.
We'll see how Red Sox fans do tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the Red Sox actually pull this off.
Green Bay.
Yes, I think Green Bay is good enough. It just depends on what Aaron Rodgers walks out of that locker room.
Oh, I forgot to mention the Panthers on that list.
Oh, I hadn't got there yet. I'm to Tampa Bay right now. Tampa Bay, obviously, could they repeat 100%? I think they're good enough. Their roster is exactly the same as it was last year, and that team won a Super Bowl. So clearly they're good enough. Carolina.
Hold on. While we're on the topic of Tampa Bay,
okay.
I know I pinned them as winning the Super Bowl again. I want to retract that because of the fact that offenses are finding weaknesses in the secondary. Even with picking up Richard Sherman on there, once they start facing more elite receiver cores with good quarterbacks on it, they're going to get picked apart. We saw Dallas do it very early on whenever they started playing them. If I'm still a firm believer that Dallas should probably be 4-0 right now. If their kicker would have done his job in game one against Tampa Bay, they would have won that game.
True.
But the weakest part of that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is their secondary. They can't do man coverage. They can't do cover threes. Their set backfield is horrible. And the moment they start playing better wide receiver, like I'd want to see them play Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. That receiver core would just eat them up.
Yeah, I mean, so they've lost some players. Excuse me. So, Sean Murphy Bunting, the cornerback.
Yep.
He was their starting cornerback. He basically busted his elbow all up. He's on injured reserve, so they're missing him. Antoine Winfield is not 100%. Let's see, because he had a concussion. Carlton Davis is another cornerback they're missing. I mean, they've got some injuries in the secondary, but by the time they are playing anyone of any importance, those guys should be back and be healthy. And then at that time, they'll be like 9-1, right? So they're 3-1 right now, right? They play Miami, that's a win. They play Philadelphia, that's a win. They play Chicago, that's a win. They play New Orleans, that's a win. It's on Halloween night, so I don't want to completely bet against the Saints because
is it in New Orleans?
Yeah, it's in New Orleans on Halloween, so it's kind of like, yeah, maybe
I'm not touching that voodoo.
So okay, let's just say maybe they lose that game. So at that point, they'll be 6-2, right? Then they play Washington, New York, Indianapolis, Atlanta, right? So they could technically be 10-2 by the time they get to Buffalo in Week 14.
But the question is, are they going to be in the Super Bowl? I say no. They're going to lose in the playoffs.
No, I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is that I feel like these games are not crucial yet. Like they play New Orleans in Week 8, but until Week 14, they don't actually have a challenge, right? So now they play. Yeah, that's their only challenge remaining on their schedule is Buffalo. They play New Orleans twice, Carolina twice, and the Jets once. Right, but the only team that's really of any note right now is Buffalo.
Okay.
So it's very possible that they get completely healthy. Then at the end of the season, they don't even have to play Week 17 or 18 because they've already got the division locked up. They rest all their players. Now they might be playing Wild Card Weekend,
right? Which they did last year,
right? And so the playoffs happen. Tom Brady clicks on to that, God mode, and Rob Gronkowski's healthy. All your receivers are healthy. I mean, that's going to be a tough out, man. I think 100% they are a contender to win the Super Bowl. Carolina, the next team in their division, no. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs.
Rams?
The Rams, the Rams are definitely a contender to win the Super Bowl. They upgraded their quarterback position, and their defense is still hellacious. So I'm going to say yes. Arizona, I don't think so. I think they're missing something on defense. So I don't think Arizona can win the Super Bowl. I don't think Seattle can win the Super Bowl. I also don't think that they have everything needed on defense, and I think they're missing a steady running game, so that makes them too one-dimensional. And then San Francisco, they're good enough roster-wise, but their quarterback position is not good enough yet. I think Trey Lance could be the guy, but he's probably still 3 years away from leading a Super Bowl team.
So I guess you kind of answered my next question. Does Arizona go undefeated?
No. I'm going to look at their schedule right now. I'm pretty sure they lose their next game.
They've got the Niners in San Francisco this Sunday.
Yeah,
And then
I
they've got
mean,
Cleveland, Houston, Green Bay, San Francisco, Carolina, Seattle, Chicago, Rams, Lions, Colts, Cowboys, and Seahawks.
so I feel like they're going to lose one of the games to San Francisco between week 5 and week 9. They could
Okay.
lose to Cleveland only because it's in Cleveland, and I'm pretty sure they're going to lose to Green Bay.
They're
So
playing at home.
yeah, that'll be
Oh,
a
they're playing San Francisco at home this week. I'm sorry.
yeah. They're playing San Francisco. They could lose that game. They could lose week 9. So I'm telling you, they're going to split with San Francisco. So they'll lose one of those games. They could lose to Cleveland, just depending on who shows up. They're not losing to Houston. Green Bay is going to beat them. So they will at least have 2 losses by the time it gets to Carolina at week 10. They should beat Carolina. They should beat Seattle. They should beat Chicago. I think they'll lose to the Rams on Monday night. They'll beat Detroit. They'll beat Indianapolis. They could lose to Dallas. And then I think they'll lose the last week of the season to Seattle because I think Seattle will need that game to get into the playoffs.
I don't even see right now the way Seattle is, and like you mentioned, their defense being as bad as it is. I don't see them even being a contender for playoffs.
I don't know. They could be a third, like the second wild card. I don't know the
Uh,
rules for the playoffs this year. How many teams are making the playoffs in the NFL?
I don't know.
I'm curious because last year they changed it because of COVID.
I see.
Yeah, they said 14, so there could be 3 wild cards.
I'm looking at it right now, and I'm thinking that Arizona's not going to lose until they play the Rams again. I think they're going to sweep San
Wow.
Francisco. I think they're going to beat Green Bay.
Well, I'll tell you right
Um,
now, if they play Green Bay in week 8 and they are still undefeated, that is going to be a powerful statement to beat Green Bay.
oh, absolutely.
Especially on a
Or
Thursday night, it'll be a short week because they play Houston in the late game on
they can
Sunday.
start. They can start their second string against Houston and still win.
Well, unless Tyrod Taylor comes back. Tyrod Taylor, for whatever reason, is a spark for that team. I
He's
know
going
it's
to be
hard to
back after
say
this
it, but
week.
he is.
He'll be back after this week. We got one more week of long neck David Mills. Um,
Which looks terrible, by the way, but he looks like a rookie 3rd-round pick.
bro, don't even get me started.
So
Yeah, I'm seeing him all the way till week 14.
okay, well, I mean that would be a hell of a deal, and that would be great for my fantasy team. So
Oh, I
I'm
know.
all about it.
Oh. Just looking at the rest of week 5, the only other games outside of the Cardinals and Niners, which we talked about, that looks interesting, is Bills and Chiefs. Do the Bills deliver another loss to the Chiefs, or is the Chiefs coming out and taking this one?
Man, I feel like if the Chiefs don't show out in this game, there's going to be a problem.
Yep.
Um, like I don't want to say that Andy Reid would be on the hot seat because that's way of an over exaggeration. But a firing of an offensive coordinator doesn't sound like it's out of the realm of possibilities.
Well, is it the offensive coordinator or is it the defense?
I mean, really, the whole team sucks. Like even your quarterback is not playing very well. So I don't know. It's a Monday night, or I mean, I'm sorry, it's a Sunday night in Kansas City.
Yep.
It's not cold enough yet to actually affect Josh Allen, I don't think. I feel like this has to be a statement game for Kansas City because, like, the win that they had this past week, like, okay, yeah, they won, right? They kind of got they tried to get their stuff together, but they played Philadelphia
Yep.
and they scored 42 points, but they also gave up 30. So, yeah, you did good. I mean, you ran for 100 yards. Tyreek Hill went the fuck off. Like that's cool, but you play the Eagles, so that's kind of expected. This next week is going to be a real team, and I'm sure Buffalo would like nothing more than to get some revenge for the AFC Championship game. So, man, that's a tough matchup. I think Kansas City is still the better team, but man, I wouldn't be surprised to see Josh Allen lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter.
So you and I were texting this past Sunday, especially during the Bills game, and you're upset that Diggs wasn't getting the ball as much for your fantasy team, right?
Well, yeah,
What we're seeing with this Bills team is Josh Allen and them are spreading the ball around, and surprisingly, Zach Moss is actually doing work, right?
yeah. It's weird
Um,
that he's actually able to run the ball, considering that in the playoffs they ran the ball combined like 6 times.
Right. And I was looking at his fantasy points this past today. In the past 3 weeks, he's averaging around anywhere from 15 to 20 fantasy points a game. Now, granted, that doesn't commute to a lot of his stats, but what stats I am going to give you are the following. So far this season, the Bills have allowed 235.3 yards, passing 167 with 68 rushing yards, whereas the Chiefs 453 yards total with 307 in the air. So don't be surprised if we don't see Josh Allen throwing to Emmanuel Sanders, throwing it to Dawson Knox, throwing it to Cole Beasley. He's got so many weapons to throw to. I don't think Kansas City has enough defenders to cover all those.
They definitely
Um,
don't. Their defense is not
but
very good. Um, I mean, do we think that the addition of Josh Gordon makes that much of a difference? Because he kind of would slate into that Sammy Watkins role that seems like it's missing from the offense.
Right. And that's something that we get to finally see, right? We didn't get to see it this past week. I believe he's going to be on the active roster this week. And this is what a game for him to come back to, right?
Yeah.
Prime time, Sunday night. Does he still have the speed? Does he still have the hands?
Did you see him working out with the team?
No.
Dude, he looks like remember when Mike Tyson went to prison?
Yeah.
And so all he could do was like eat and work out.
Yeah.
Josh Gordon looks like he's just been doing push-ups every day.
Really?
He is freaking
So he got
jacked.
some titties on him.
He's got his arms are just insane. So I mean, look, if he turns into the number one wide receiver that he was with the Browns when he had like 1,400 receiving yards in 13 games, man, like there will be a force to be reckoned with because we already know Mahomes can make every throw. He just got to make the throw.
Well,
Right.
you
The
know,
last
Tyreek
game,
is.
not this game against the Eagles, but the week before, he was floating a lot of passes and he kind of really didn't care where he was putting the football. It kind of seemed like he was just arbitrarily I can put it there and fucking it up, and he just didn't care. I don't know. But if he can make the throws, Josh Gordon makes this team better. We'll just have to see how much better.
Dude, do you think Tyreek's pissed?
No.
I know Tyreek owners are.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's definitely going to cut into Tyreek Hill's production. I mean, I'm a Travis Kelce owner, so I'm pretty pissed off that Tyreek Hill went off last week, but what are you
Well,
going to do?
still though, okay, with Josh Gordon on that offense, you still have McCole Hardman Jr., who is getting a lot of looks at this season. Tyreek, you got Kelsey. Clyde Edwards coming out the backfield and catching this past week showed some sparks for people. So I don't know. Maybe we see a new offense going forward with Josh Gordon on the lineup now. I don't know. I'm super excited about this game. I know it's one of those headliner games, and we normally stay away from them. But I think this is going to be a fun and exciting game to watch. I'm going to be happy either way on who wins. Granted, I want the Bills to win because I got Josh Allen on my
Yep.
team. But you know what? I'm looking forward to that. Honestly, going through the rest of the schedule, though, there are no other games that really excite me. A lot of these are a lot of trash, boring games, in my opinion. You can look at them and already know who's going to win, or you look at them and you don't even care about the game, right? Like I could care less about the Jets and the Falcons. Packers are going to take the Bengals. Vikings should beat the Lions. Bucks are going to beat Dolphins. Washington Saints, nobody cares.
Nope.
Eagles and Panthers, I don't care. Titans and Jags, don't care. Raiders should beat the Bears. Chargers beat the Browns. Cowboys dominate the Giants 700-3. And I don't care about the Monday night game of the Ravens and the Colts, right? I'm going to watch as much football as I can, but none of these games excite me as much as the Chiefs and Bills.
No, I mean, I'm with you. Like Denver Pittsburgh would have been a good game like 10 years ago,
Right.
but that's like it.
The Niners and Cardinals game I'm going to watch too. Those are the only two games. I'll rephrase that. Those are the only two games that excite me.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to see Cleveland, Los Angeles, the Chargers. I think that might be a decent game. I want to see who Cleveland really is. Traveling out to the West Coast to play the Chargers, I want to see how that goes down. I mean, New York, Atlanta only intrigues me because can Atlanta really lose this many games in a row? I mean, Green Bay, Cincinnati looks pretty promising because, is Joe Burrow really that good? Are the Bengals like really somebody to be reckoned with, or are they just going to get manhandled by the Packers at home?
I don't know.
So like that's a good game. Oh, we didn't even mention New York and Atlanta is in London, so you can wake up and watch football at 8 or 7:30 in the morning at our Central Time, 8:30 in the morning.
That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. So 8:30 in the morning, so you can wake up, have breakfast, watch that game,
start drinking at 8:30 in the morning,
or you could start drinking at 8:30 in the morning. I mean, that's kind of.
Do you think they tailgate in London?
Well, so like the pickup truck is not a big deal in London, so I don't even think they know what a tailgate is.
So do you think they do a lot of fish and chips out there instead of barbecue?
Man, I hope not.
I don't know what European dishes are. All I know is fish and chips.
Well, I mean that's like the English dish. That and like figgy pudding.
What?
Figgy pudding.
Never heard of that.
And like shepherd's pie.
I thought that was more Canadian.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't like shepherd's pie.
I don't either. I don't like chicken pot pie. I hate all that stuff.
Oh, it's disgusting.
And you know what's weird though? Chicken pot pie, I like all the ingredients, but when you put them together, it's like vomit.
There's something of, and maybe it's because if I've had homemade chicken pot pie, it was like when I was 3. But like for the most part, you get those microwave chicken pot pies and you cut into it, and it has like that filmy goo that kind of coats over everything once you break the crust.
Yeah.
Nah, fam, I'm good. I'm good.
No, like I'd rather just have a fucking pie.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that shit's not pie for me. I can't do it.
What's your go-to pie?
Man, I really like a pumpkin pie.
Really?
Yeah. Pumpkin pie is good. Sweet potato pie is good. Like chocolate meringue pie or whatever the fuck it's called. That stuff's good.
I had my first buttermilk cream pie, giggity, or maybe it's just called buttermilk pie.
Yeah, you just like cream pie. That's all.
Last Thanksgiving, and like I'm not a fan of buttermilk. It's just gross. But somebody was like, "Dude, you got to try this." Tried it. Oh my goodness, I wanted to eat the whole pie.
So, okay, are you a fan of like the Little Debbie like corner store pies? They look like empanadas.
Nope.
Oh, dude, I love those.
Nope.
The only one to get there is apple.
Are you a fan of like what are they called? The snowballs?
No, they have coconut. I'm not a coconut person.
You're not even like on the German chocolate cakes?
I despise German chocolate cake because it's a waste of chocolate.
What about the coconut on the Girl Scout cookies?
Okay, I'll eat that.
I'm with you on that. Like
I don't understand why, but those caramel delights are amazing.
Magical. Did you ever have the cereal of it when it came out?
No, I didn't. Hey, so they make a knockoff version. Like HEB has a version, and then the Keebler Elves, they also make a version. And
it's nothing like the real thing.
I mean, no, but in a pinch, when you can't find this little bitch to sell you some cookies, it's good stuff. Not gonna lie, they're good. Now the problem is that, like, you know, they give you a box of 16. The serving size is like 1/8 of a cookie. So when you eat the whole box and you're like, oh my God, I just ate 8,000 calories. It's not a good look, but they're so good.
It's so good. Dude, this is making me hungry now.
Yeah, I am hungry.
Yeah. Fuck it. I want a burger, but I can't.
No, I can't have a burger either. I'm trying not to eat fast food.
It's hard.
Oh yeah, because it's so convenient. You know,
it's so delicious.
Well, it is delicious, dude. We had Italian food the other day. Oh my god! Like the best part about Italian food is you eat your dish or whatever, and it leaves like that sauce in the bowl, and you take your bread, like your garlic bread, and just dip it and like soak up all that sauce. Oh, so good. Man, I didn't think that like a food boner was a real thing, but apparently they are a real thing.
Well, next time you're at Olive Garden chowing down on the never-ending pasta bowl and you're about to bust your third nut while you're dipping your garlic bread into your sauce, tell your waiter about us. Maybe they'll play it over Frank Sinatra, and the whole restaurant can go ahead and enjoy our shenanigans.
Yeah. The next time that you're waiting in line to get your fast food greasy burger, just roll the windows down and jam your favorite podcast. Who cares if the people behind you can't order because they can't hear? They're hearing us.
Kids.
We're better than that.
I think we need to try to make a Happy Meal toy that we can start dropping into Happy Meals. I don't know how we're gonna get them dropped in there, but
if some rapper chick named Saweetie can get a Happy Meal at McDonald's, they can have a Two Wanna Be Athletes Talk Sports Happy Meal.
if Nelly can get a Burger King meal and all these other people at Burger King, surely we can get a meal at fucking Wendy's or something.
I'm sorry, sir. It is not called a Nelly meal.
I'm sorry. What's it called?
A Cornell Hayes Jr. meal.
Fuck it. Maybe we can get a deal at Little Caesars.
Dude, hey, if you can get us, we could be the cheesiest podcast pizza. I don't care. Sounds good to me.
Intern, get Little Caesars on the phone.
Put it on the board.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know where to find us on all things. You know we're on all things social media. We're on TikTok. We're on the Facebook. We're on the Gram. We're on the Twitter. We're not on Snapchat because I don't want you to see my booty hole. I think Zach has an OnlyFans page showing his armpit. So we're pretty much everywhere.
We're everywhere.
Don't forget to comment on us on YouTube. Go ahead and share us on Spotify, Google Podcast. We're waiting to hear back from Apple Podcast right now to see if they can go ahead and allow our stupidity on there. They let everything else on, so why not us?
Why not?
Right. This has been another episode of Two Wanna Be Athletes Talk Sports. I am Ed.
I'm Zach.
See you later, assholes.
Always a goat.